Well, hello, Daniel. My name is Vince. I am from the Philippines, but I'm now residing in California. I've been here for 21 years now. I came here when 9/11 happened. It was a nerve-wracking experience, being a child at that time. I mean, I wasn't really a child, I was a teenager. And at that time, I already kind of knew English, but it wasn't to the point where I could really talk to people. I can, but it was a haphazard thing. And because of that, I kind of was in situations where I would be bullied because of how I spoke, and I kind of receded, kind of became shy. But then afterwards, I was like, after a few years, I became okay. And as far as my language background, I speak Cebuano, which is my mother tongue, and Tagalog, which is the national language of the Philippines. So in effect, I am trilingual. However, here in California, you have to learn a foreign language. So I chose Japanese at the time.
Oh, cool.
And yes, I could have picked, what was it now? Latin, even though it's a dead language, German, Italian, Mandarin Chinese, Korean, American Sign Language. Yeah, those were the ones that were presented to us, but I just chose Japanese because of, well, one of the things was anime, of course. I'm a great consumer of anime at that time. And I also have a cousin who speaks Japanese. But the thing is that my number one thing at that time too was I wanted to become a sumo wrestler.
Oh, really?
Believe it or not, I was really big. I was really big at that time. I was big. I mean, maybe not to the point where I could really bulk up, but because of my height, I could not do it.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, so that was my angle for Japanese. But then after a while, I had to, well, I continued on. I finished Japanese in high school, and then in college, I also took it up. But it was kind of a regression. And it was a regression because the Japanese that they had at that college was just not advanced enough. And so I just did it. I took the classes still. I
So
finished
it was
the
too easy
courses.
for you.
Yeah, it was easy. It was classroom Japanese. It wasn't really real Japanese. On and off for 20 years, I've been studying Japanese. The other languages that I am learning are Spanish and Vietnamese. Spanish is really helpful here in California because we have a huge Latinx population, and Vietnamese is something that's, well, it's not as helpful perhaps, but I live in a household that speaks Vietnamese. So we have a Spanish Vietnamese household, and because of that, I wanted to, I guess, better fit in and wanted to learn these languages. But Vietnamese is just so hard. Spanish is I could manage because Cebuano and Tagalog has a lot of Spanish words, vocabulary because of
Oh, really? I didn't
the
know.
past. Yes, colonial past. So we have our vocabulary is perhaps, I don't remember the percentage, but it's in the 20s or 30s, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Cool.
Percentage.
Because my father comes from Argentina, and that's why I picked up Spanish too. But I got very rusty these days, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
And what caught my attention when I was watching one of your videos on YouTube was that you mentioned that only 2.5 years ago you started out to practice your enunciation in English, even though you have been already speaking about 20 years English. You decided to start really severely to focus on that.
Yes, it was because, well, I work for a marketing post-production house here in LA, and sometimes we need to talk on the phone. And when we talk on the phone, it just so happened that afterwards, after this one fateful incident, that this person asked, what was it now? Along the lines of, what are your primary and secondary languages? So I just answered it, but then in the back of my mind, I was like, why was there something wrong? So that's where that kind of gave me a hint that I really had an accent, a strong accent. And so because that's right, this person did say that because you don't quite sound American. So that really got me, and I wanted to correct that, and lo and behold, I just was at the beginning I didn't really have a set process on how to do this. I just did some readings, perhaps some enunciations that I don't know, was just again haphazard. But then after a while I took classes. I went to college here, and we had everyday exercises, and I was also watching numerous YouTubers, namely Hadar Shemesh. She's the number one person that I would attribute my success to, as well as Rachel's English. Those two would be my.
So you
my
basically
picks.
you
So
followed.
I was just watching.
You followed their suggestions and tips and tricks, and that made you
Exactly,
kind
yeah.
of successful. Okay.
Yeah, in a way, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And then I have this method of after a while, because of my technical background in film and television, because that's what I went to school for. I heard about shadowing. So shadowing, I'm not sure you've heard of shadowing, right?
Yeah, shadowing is
shadowing practice.
fantastic. I recommend it.
So just for the viewers, shadowing is when you enunciate after a native speaker of the language. And what I do differently though is I open up a nonlinear editing software, or an audio suite. My choice is Audacity, and then I put the original native speaker on track 1, and then I record on track 2, listening closely to what is being said, and I just keep on doing that until I exhaust my mouth.
How many hours does it take?
You know, there was one where I obsessed on one, and it took me 2-3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that intense for me, and that was for English. Now I'm really, well, recently I haven't been doing that for English. I've been doing it for Spanish though, because one of my friends is Argentinian, and he wants me to pick up the Argentinian Spanish accent instead.
And is this your new goal? To sound like an Argentinian?
Well, not really, but I mean, it's a type of Spanish, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to, you know, because this guy is really into helping me, and so in order for me to kind of reciprocate, you know, I mean, it's a dialect of Spanish anyway, so I'll pick it up, you know, along with the Mexican Spanish, which is the most prevalent Spanish that you can really get online, you know, and as well as Castilian Spanish.
And how did people react? I mean, you were shadowing on a regular basis, you were focusing on your enunciation, so people must have noticed it, right? So how were some reactions to the new wins?
As far as the people around me here, I'm not really sure. They didn't really find it different. They did not hear anything different from me, so I'm not sure. I don't know. And I've never really talked to that original person who said you don't quite sound American. So there's no way of me telling you that I may have been successful or not. However, amongst the circle, amongst the English language community learners, I am in a different community other than what we are in, and to them, I just sound like a native. Like, okay, I've been dubbed near native by my English professors, but I don't really consider myself native at all.
So, but what is your goal? So why are you still in language learning groups specifically for English learners? Haven't you reached your goal yet?
I have reached my goal. Yeah, I think I have reached my goal. However, I also want to kind of pull people up in a way. I am a host in the other
and
group.
You want to help
been,
people.
Yeah, in a way, yes.
Help out.
Just help them out. Yeah, in the way that I can, and I want to make them. Yeah, I just want to help out. That's what it is.
Yeah, because just so that the listeners know, because we are both in the same group, in the same Facebook group called MAOFEN, Masters of English. And as it happens, actually today I had another interview with Dorothy, and she's also a member of this community, and it's just so amazing how people help each other out. And can you recommend other groups? So you mentioned, I can't remember, in the group that you are in, Influent? No,
Yeah, this is the Influency community. So Influency, IN, and then FLUAUENCY, Influency community, headed by Hadar Shemesh. And the other one that I'm in, that I'm an admin now, is English with Natives. The name of the group keeps changing, so that is the name that I
Okay.
that I
Yeah.
remember. English with Natives. So those would
Yeah,
be
okay.
the two. Yeah, I'm also in other ones, but I'm no longer as active, or I just don't make myself as active because there's just so much, and I
Yeah,
still need to study the other languages, not just
of
English.
course. So let's move on to another topic, which is listening at a faster speed, maybe to podcasts or watching videos, and learning through that. Maybe a little bit of background in the same group that we are in. Vince, you have written a comment in which you told me that you were watching a video at 3 times the normal speed. And to me, this was very fascinating, and I wanted to learn more about that. So maybe you can give us some instructions or background info about that.
Okay, I have not mentioned that I am a transcriptionist. I am a time text technician, but that is my bread and butter, one of my responsibilities. And so in order for us to, plow through mass amounts of videos or audio, we have to really train our ears. And over the years, because I've been training my ears, I could easily just make something in 2x or 3x, and I could still understand what is being said. And it wasn't really that special to me when I first did it, and it was because I just thought that after a while, once you are really fluent in a given language, you should be able to just speed through. And I've heard of a visually impaired individual could do this too if they could, because audio somehow info that can be sped up. I don't know. Don't quote me on this because I don't have the specific paper. But what you can quote me on though is that one of my co-members in the Influency community said that if you speed up something, your brain is not given the time to translate. And so it really forces your brain to think in the given language that is being spoken in that tape or whatever, or audio. So that is the philosophy behind it, that if you just speed it up, you're forcing your brain to comprehend the language that is being spoken.
And you used it also to improve your English or another language? Or was it just for your job?
This is just for English. This is just for English, really.
Just for
It's just
English?
for. I could not really do this. I mean, I could probably do. No, actually, I do this for Tagalog as well. Whenever I watch the news, 2x only though. Yeah, the Japanese and Vietnamese, Spanish. Not, I'm not at that point. I definitely could even. I even need to slow it down.
Okay, I see. And so, do you think that this would be like a method for every learner, or at least for, let's say, maybe intermediate, so that you can get more exposed to the language?
I'm not really sure because this is something that I only got because I became a transcriptionist. I don't know if this is a real thing, but the thing is,
Yeah.
one of my co-members did say that she uses it to really make herself, and she is, I believe, she's already an advanced speaker. So maybe if you're an advanced speaker, if you really want to ante it up to really challenge yourself, that is when you would want to do this, not when you're
Yeah.
an intermediate. Well, but who knows?
Yeah, because it's similar to the method which is called speed reading, right? Because, yeah, the more books you read, of course, the more vocabulary you will get exposed to. And then chances are that you can pick up a lot of expressions just because of the fact that you can read more. Maybe, yeah, it's a little bit like speed reading, but just for speed listening.
Well, again, you kind of need to have I guess, a really high level. But the thing is, she was saying that it really works to force your brain. So I don't know. We kind of need to dig into this further.
Yes.
I think there may be some scientific studies out there backing this up, but they just didn't have the brain capacity to
Yeah,
to
yeah.
look for it or to find the right keywords for this.
I have started out learning Italian, or I have restarted learning. And the method that I'm using in the beginning is listening to a lot of podcasts. So I am not there now, but I will increase the speed and I will test it on myself.
Okay.
And then I will tell my listeners how it worked out. Yeah,
You be the guinea pig. Okay, sure, yeah, definitely,
exactly.
man.
What is one of the most crucial things that helped you to become such a great fluent speaker like you are today?
Really being in the moment. I would have not been able to speak English like this. Let's piece it together. Okay. For English, it was me being in an environment where I could not escape. I was a child or a teenager at that time, and not being able to speak English would have been detrimental to me. I would have. So one thing is immersion. Immersion is, I guess, was the number one, because it kind of happened to me too in Japanese. Back in high school, there was I think a month that we went to Japan, and all my Japanese at that time was just really elementary, really basic. But because we got lost one time, it
Okay.
was that was when my Japanese just flooded in. Like, I really needed this language to help me out right now, and so everything, every single word that I know related to being lost or finding directions came back. Like, it really just it soared. So that would be my thing, I guess. Like, immersion would be number one. Something else that I've learned from one of the books, I think it was Fluent Forever by Gabriel Wyner. Uh, Backchaining is something that you want to do with your pronunciation. Backchaining is when you have it's like shadowing, but so you have the audio file, but instead of starting at the beginning, you start at the end. So you go to the end of the clip, master the sounds from the back, because it would exercise your mouth and in a way where it knows where to go.
Okay.
So you just keep on inching towards the beginning, and then supposedly you're gonna be able to say the whole phrase more fluently than if you started at the beginning. And this is something that is being used by singers.
Okay, and so you record yourself while doing it, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I do.
Because
I definitely do.
because
Recording yourself,
Aud-
definitely.
you mentioned Audacity, and just so that the listeners know, you don't have to pay anything, and it's a great software where you can record yourself and edit, basically.
Right. So those would be my three things: immersion, backchaining, and recording yourself. One thing that I was dabbling on before was SRS, space repetition software, but I kind of dropped it.
Do you use Anki?
Yeah, I used to use Anki. That was my go-to. But then it's been years since I've been doing it. So I just kind of gave up on it. And I probably should go back to it because I know that it kind of helped me when I was a student. But I just could not. After a while,
Why?
I lost love. It got to not difficult, but what was it now? I had too many cards to to review. because it was I think I and I also did not want to restart it, because I'm restarting it, you just lose every single one. So but yeah, I really should get back to it, because that's how I learned hiragana and katakana at one point, and kanji was, man, as you may know, kanji characters, you have to learn close to more than 2,500 characters in order for you to be literate in Japanese, in written Japanese. So kind of helped, but yeah, SRS would be something, but then I really can't recommend it because I'm no longer doing it. So.
And what about when you are watching animes? Do you shadow as well, or is it just entertainment and you just watch it and that's it?
I've started using it as shadow practice, yes, but not closely. What I do want to emphasize though are the reality TV shows, because they're closer to real life conversation.
Oh yeah.
Because when you're talking about anime, they're using words that are like fantastical. They're sci-fi stuff, you know. So you want to pick up words that you can really use in real life. So I've been watching Japanese reality TV shows.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I love podcasts in which there are a lot of interviews. Do you listen to a lot of podcasts?
No, not anymore. No, I used to listen to Tim Ferris.
Yeah,
but I stopped.
Okay.
I also used to listen to the Stuff You Should Know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those two were my go-tos before, but I kind of stopped. I don't know. I fell out of the wagon when it came to podcasts. Right now, I am trying to make myself revamping my habits, and I'm using a habit tracking app called Habitica, and in these guilds they have numerous resources, and I've been combing through the resources. I picked some of them, but putting them in my regular habit or my regular routine has been fatal. Yes, it hasn't happened, and so the only one that I was able to really insert was read the kanji or something like that. But then there's more, so I'm trying to insert them into my my daily routine. But if you have any better ways, I'm all ears.
Yeah, maybe we should start like a challenge, something which forces us to learn a certain language in a certain period of time, and like a challenge among friends or a community, and in which everyone is so motivated so that it becomes like one of the most important priorities for us. So I think having challenges is really huge, but of course you need to commit yourself and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I know, I forgot language exchanges. That would be one thing that you kind of want to be into, because if you are language exchanging, you are practicing, but at the same time helping someone else learn whatever languages you could offer to that person. I have a language exchange almost every Friday for 2 hours, 1 hour in English, 1 hour in Japanese. I sound like a freaking kid when it comes to Japanese, but I'm okay when it comes to English. But yeah, that would be one other thing that I would like to proliferate. And if we have community members who want to do language exchanges, let's do it.
Yeah. So, but how do you find them? How do you find a tandem partner?
I was able to find my Japanese language exchange partner through my classes, my ESL classes. This person was asking for practice, and I was like, okay. Even though I'm not a native speaker of English, I do know something. So we've been seeing each other for close to 2 years now, 1.5
Awesome.
years. And it's because it just, yeah. But I haven't been able to, and I also do it for Spanish, but then it's like, it's no longer as scheduled or regular as before.
I see.
Because I could not master the freaking, what do you call this now, the conjugations. I'm still trying to get a grasp.
Yeah.
And for Vietnamese, I was seeing someone, and I met this person via meetup.com. But the thing is, I was in that group because I also had another classmate from another ESL class recommend me to be in this meetup, so that because she's also an organizer for this meetup, and there was another person in that group too. So we just after a while we wanted to do the same thing, and we did it. But then I just could not grasp the language to the point where it felt like I was just wasting his time.
Okay.
So I stopped, and he understands, So I'm just now doing my solo thing. So, but for Japanese, it's been helpful because I could really see my the way that I communicate in Japanese now. It's way better than before, but it's still not as good as the masters, man. I don't know.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Vince. It was really amazing. Maybe you are up to for a second round when I have a specific topic to discuss with you. Then we could do something again, and I would be over the moon.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Vince. Do you want to add something? Do you want to say something in the end?
Well, if anyone out there is learning Japanese, Spanish, or Vietnamese, and you have tips for me, please let me know. That would be what I would want to. All right, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Okay.
It was a pleasure.